Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell. Confronting Mormons' religious bigotry. Because that's what Mormons are doing to me. They're attacking my belief that Joseph Smith is a translator. That Joseph Smith was innocent of polygamy. That he was the Christ. And because Mormons don't believe that, they believe it's blasphemy, they attack. And they don't understand their own origins. Because Brigham Young had taken them too far from what Joseph Smith was doing. If you're Christian and you're hearing this, thinking, Joseph thought he was the Messiah? What? That's horrible. That is blasphemous. It was far worse than what we thought, that Lucifer is Jesus' brother and that all mankind are the brothers and sisters of Lucifer. Nobody brings that part up. They're all more interested in Lucifer being Jesus' brother. But, yeah, we're all brothers and sisters in the Mormon theology. But Joseph Smith was purposely being set up to be the Messiah of the last days, to restore the kingdom of God on the earth, and build New Jerusalem and Zion and the temple. And he was murdered, assassinated. And the Nauvoo temple's symbolism with the inverted pentagram over the sunstone is the Messiah symbol. And they assassinated him and put it in the Nauvoo temple. We had conquered Joseph Smith and Hiram. We control. So, wow. People really hated it that the Mormon Lord uses the sword. They're really going to hate this one. They'll most likely ignore Mormons delighting in wickedness, but we'll see. And so, now I forgot when I was doing this one, Vaughn. Had a bad night with coughing. Religious bigotry. So, yeah. The Book of Mormon, right in the beginning, says that the Book of Mormon is written in the learning of the Jews, the language of the Egyptians. This was their take on the Rosetta Stone sweeping breaking news in 1822, when Jean Champollion deciphered the Rosetta Stone, figuring out that, yes, indeed, it was Greek doing their learning of the Egyptian language, applying the Greek alphabet to Egyptian. And so the Smiths then did a Hebrew version of it with claiming the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon was not a translation. And that's okay, Mormons. Mormons already gave up and put their thumbs down and left, wanting to be foolish virgins. This is the whole purpose for this. And even though I'm only getting 43 on one of the videos, we have 19, 16 as a low end for a couple others. 4 foolish virgins attacked on the last one I did last night. Mormon Lord was to use the sword. That was his intention. It's right from Razban's little press release. And Mormons hate me for it instead. How dare you expose the prophets as false? And they want to turn it on me, saying, oh, you're the bigot, Travis. You're not allowing us to commit crime. That's the difference, guys. That's the difference. We're not supposed to allow religion to be abusive, to have their followers drink the Kool-Aid. If you remember Jim Jones. The Book of Mormon preaches against wickedness, preaches against religions practicing wickedness. The Great and Abominable Church is right there in the beginning of the Book of Mormon, saying it's of the devil. Devil founded it. And this is the things they do: polygamy, murder, bondage, hostage taking, and wealth that's not distributed to the poor. It's exactly the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Mormons are in denial. They cannot come to grips that the Book of Mormon condemns their own church. And thus they have to be bigots. They have to, because otherwise they have to confront the reality that their church isn't true. And that's the whole cause for Mormon bigotry. And not only was it in Brigham Young, because of his desire to be the leader himself, which wasn't really his intention. His intention was just to revenge on the Smith family for stopping their plans to take over America, the coup d'etat in 1826. And that's all it was. Brigham Young was just simply following the pattern of the Illuminati, of whom he was a part of, and put it in symbol form with the inverted pentagram. And so it's not Lucifer per se, it's the Illuminati using Lucifer doctrine. And people don't make that connection. Is that, yes, they are evil, yes, they have Lucifer as their god per se, but it's more intellectual to destroy, using their intellect to be better than other people, and to destroy those who are not intellectual, to prevent people from becoming equally intellectual. And that's their method. And so when I come along, born and raised Mormon, believing in the founder, as we sing praise to the man, we have our scriptures where John Taylor says, oh, Joseph Smith was second only to Jesus Christ himself. And no, and he was Jesus Christ. That's what he was trying to point out. And so the Brighamite Church, they claim, oh, he was great, he was wonderful, we're his true successors, and that's how they trick people. And as a result, they have to turn everything away from Judaism, because Jews, likewise, they don't believe in the Jesus Christ of Christians. They still believe in a Messiah. Moses, a man like Moses, a man like Moses. That's the difference that nobody understands if they have the Christian blinders on. Because Christians don't believe Jesus is a man. The Nicene Council determined definitively he's homoousios. And that's the best we can do for that word, because as mortal men, we're not capable of comprehending the substance of homoousios. That was the trap that Constantine set. Create something that cannot be understood because it's a created word, and that nobody can even dare approach commenting about it because it's not supposed to be comprehended. And thus, by its very nature of being incomprehensible, it has to be dismissed as a legitimate theory. But, Christians move on, just like Mormons move on. Mormons want to be like Christians, and they've done it. They've succeeded. And so, if you're wondering, well, how was Joseph Smith thinking he was a man like Moses? Well, what do you mean? The office of Moses? The church believes that they are the true successors because they have the keys of the kingdom, and they cut it off there. Joseph Smith says to preach the gospel to all the world. That's as far as their keys went. They were just to preach. They were missionaries. That was it. And so they instead, what's the word? Not elevate, but exalt. They exalted themselves beyond what Joseph Smith gave them authority for. And they ran with it to justify it. And Joseph Smith condemned them. We don't have it in our Doctrine and Covenants. But we do have it in the Joseph Smith papers. July 2nd, 1839. This was after they had excommunicated, after chasing out Thomas B. Marsh. There was no milk church skimming from his wife. They always blamed the wives back then because wives were not considered human. They did not have the right to vote. They did not have the right to own property. They did not have the right to get a job, etc., 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 other than to work in brothels. They required a man to take care of them in order to survive. So, Joseph Smith was revolutionary in that he gave women power. People want to call it witchcraft. No. It's high priestesses. It's an ancient office for women. And when you get the Catholic Church, who are anti-women also, they turn the high priestesshood into witchcraft. That's an evil thing that everybody must shun and shiver and quake. And interestingly, King Arthur legends have him mixed up with Arthur Pendragon, the son of the Dragon King, which comes from Revelation. Nobody catches on. The Holy Grail, blood lineage for Knights Templar, which Smiths. But when the Kirtland Temple was dedicated, Joseph Smith says, "Oh, I have a vision. Moses comes and gives me the office of Moses. I'm now Moses, a man like Moses." And Mormons don't see it because they don't know Judaism. They don't understand the Passover. They don't understand why they set out a table for Elijah, who also came. Gave him the keys. Mormons talk about that. Oh yeah, we got the sealing keys from Elijah. Woo! Genealogy work. Woo! But they don't understand what that was all about. They don't understand the connection to Passover, because the church has led them away from it. They didn't want them to know. But Brigham Young's followers, the Danites, when they were traveling, fleeing the country of the United States to murder the Indians, to take over their land and establish his kingdom of Deseret, they called him the man like Moses, the Mormon Moses, the American Moses, the modern Moses, the millennial Moses, etc., etc. They understood and knew. They put it in the symbolic form on the Nauvoo Temple. The Jewish star at the very top, Lucifer's star in the middle, above, pointing at the personification of the earthly version of the Jewish star. So you have the Jewish star up in heaven, the Jewish star, the sun, as the rising sun, as the sunstone on earth, and dividing them, separating them, is Lucifer's star, who had conquered by murdering Joseph and Hiram Smith. So for Mormons to attack me when I'm defending Joseph Smith, when I'm saying, hey, Joseph Smith, he's okay. He didn't translate the Book of Mormon. It was coded, warning us about this threat of the Brighamite Church, as well as the other group that was going to focus more on government takeover, the church being the church takeover. So now what you're seeing is Trump wants to do herd immunity for coronavirus. Treats us like animals. That's herd. Cows. Small animal herds. And it's used by farmers for an acceptable loss of the lives of their flock or herd. Flock's a different thing. And that's what they're using on us as humans. Saying, oh, yeah, acceptable losses. We're just going to get everybody infected and take our losses and then move forward with herd immunity. We don't even have, it's not going to happen. This isn't a cold. We need a vaccine for immunity. And even if we get a vaccine, we may not know if it works. And Trump's already saying through his CDC to tell the states, you be ready to accept our vaccines on the day. And so yesterday MSNBC was pointing out how Gerald Ford pulled this stunt with swine flu that was on a military base. It did not leak to the public, but he purposely created vaccines for people to take right before his election. And what happened? Well, there were neurological problems from taking the vaccine, resulting in paralysis. Do you want that to happen to you guys? Do you love Trump so much you are willing to be paralyzed with a rushed vaccine? If there is ever a time to be an anti-vaxxer, it's now. We were told from the beginning it's going to take years because of the timing and the testing and the samples and all that need to be done in order to make sure it's safe. And yet, nope, we're going to have it before the end of the year. We're going to have it before the election. Oh, get ready, it's here, it's coming. They're going to kill you. They're going to make your life horrible. And yet, the news also countered it with Trump calling our military losers and suckers who died. Stay focused on the more serious issue of the vaccines before the election. It's too soon. You cannot guarantee safety with a rushed vaccine. And so Nelson, medical doctor, he knows this. He's doing it to the Mormons as Trump is doing it to America. Oh, the church is open. Oh, isn't it great? We're coming out of this, guys. I've already seen the news for this morning. 93 more cases of students from another school district. More schools, more cases, more victimization of children because Herbert can't choose the right. Did you know that the choose the right symbol, CTR, with a shield, comes from the KKK? The KKK had a shield with the Christian cross in the middle. That's the T part. That's the Christian cross on the KKK. And then Mormons have the designer put the C and the R on either side of the shield of the KKK. Isn't that great? The Doctrine and Covenants has a passage that says, "Contend against no church but the church of the devil." I've been obedient to Joseph Smith. I contend against no church but the church of the devil. That's all there is to it. It's not complicated.